Welcome to the Good Spirits channel. Initial clarifications. This video was based on the books Heralds of Aparecida, Chicofonia do Medium, João Berbel, by the Spirit João Palisteu, publisher Farol das Três Colinas, in 2012. If you are interested in the theme and content of this video, purchase the Heralds of Aparecida books by accessing the page www.irma.org.br. Be part of the network of supporters of the Sister Instituto de Medicina do Além, in Franca, in the interior of São Paulo, and let your generosity transform the lives of thousands of people in need. The photos of the people mentioned in this video are fictional, based on the real characters object of the book. The published images may or may not be identical to the actual figures in the book. We apologize if we offended anyone. This was not our intention. The story likely happened between 1894 and 1898, about 131 years ago. Manuel dos Ramos Study Group, from 1805 to 1922. Maria and the Love of Brazil, the indigenous population in Brazil, discovery of Brazil on 04/22/1500. The indigenous population in 1500 was 3,000. According to Funai, around 1650, this number fell to 700,000 indigenous people. In 1957, it reached 70,000 indigenous people. Once 700,000 people declared themselves indigenous. According to IBGE 2022, the black population in Brazil. More than 30,000 slaves were brought from Ghana to Brazil on Portuguese ships. In 1482, ships from Portugal to Brazil made 9,200 slave voyages. Over 300 years, more than 4.8 million Africans were disembarked. In Brazil, 20.6 million people declared themselves black, according to IBGE. 2022, Zumbi dos Palmares. In Brazil, Black Awareness Day. Zumbi was born in early 1655 in one of the villages of Quilombo de Palmares, in Alagoas. With a few days of life, Zumbi was captured by the Portuguese. Handed over to Father Antonio Melo, he became a warrior and military strategist in the fight to defend Palmares against Portuguese soldiers. He was captured on November 20, 1695. Zumbi was killed at the age of 40, quartered and had his head exposed in a public square in the city of Olinda. In Pernambuco, 92,000 people declared themselves brown, according to IBGE 2022. The unpleasant conditions experienced in Europe, with expansion and predominance of the outcasts, caused waves of men to seek new lands in America. Pedro Álvares Cabral discovered Brazil on April 22, 1500, in Bahia. He led an expedition of 3 vessels with about 1,200 men. Bloodstains are not erased with rain and, in reincarnation, the balance of souls. Thousands of Indians died by the invading army. There was an explosion of hatred and anger among the indigenous people, who were returning to the spiritual plane. The indigenous people were reincarnated as children of the colonizers. Hatred and revolt ceased, but greed and ambition did not return. The shedding of blood reincarnated in Brazil spirits, who were beside Jesus. Conflicts were blocked. On May 13, 1888, it was signed by Princess Isabel, a Lei Áurea, which abolished slavery in Brazil, being the last among the 20 Latin American countries to abolish slavery. Slavery in Brazil began around the 1530s, when the Portuguese laid the foundations for the colonization of Portuguese America. It is estimated that more than 700,000 slaves were freed. Mother, I summon you once again. Why does that continent and that country called Brazil need you? And the Blessed Mother asks, she said. And well, my son, and Jesus explained from that place. Mother was chosen to house the suffering brothers from all over the planet to establish a new order. So that, passing through the second millennium, a new situation may be introduced to all earthly brothers. Brazil, heart of the world, homeland of the gospel, Mary affected Jesus eternally, and said of my dear, beloved Son, you are for every living being on earth. With the greatest love, I will attend to your request. So give me the condition to look at this Brazil. It is not the color of a man that dignifies him, but the light of his heart. Mother, I fought in every way, and the men understood nothing. Mary, in her light, stood before those rebellious spirits and said, of my children, do not post. The responsibility of the error was the will of my Son, our Lord Jesus. He is the one who assigned this mission to each of you. You will be contemplated. You will be consoled. It is enough that you forgive the men who have passed here, erase the stain of blood from this ground. I have removed from here your energies of revolt, and you will receive from the hands of the Master himself, the greatness of his love. Those spirits wept for joy contemplating the Blessed Mother. Description of the characters: Adelardo was elderly, single, healer, was not from Bahia, but was in Pernambuco and Bahia. Big, curly hair and beard, he loved people, talked to animals, and because he was black, the people marginalized. Frederico was from Campo Largos, Paraná, white male, failed beard, disheveled hair. He was a different man, descended from Germans, had a self-knowledge of spiritism, indoctrination, passes and mortality of the soul. Paul and Anastasius were brothers and workers in São Paulo. Both were religious and helped the needy. Francisco is a roller coaster, elderly, beard and long light hair. Northeastern, friend of Geraldo, was Catholic. Geraldo was a fisherman. From the northeast, a friend of Francisco, he was Catholic. Jofre and Antonio Luis arrived on horseback. They came from the south of Brazil, and were very young. They had different clothes. Father Alberto was from Bahia, young and from a poor family. He fought in defense of blacks. Belchior was born in Barretos, São Paulo. He had a long beard, was a devotee of the Lady of Aparecida, and was a cattle farmer's pawn. John Palisteus was an elderly man, with a beard and long light hair. Worked in gemstone sales. He studied medicine, philosophy and religion in Portugal. He was from São Paulo. His mission was to heal the sick, to help the needy and the poor, to bring hope. He was in Aparecida, Ouro Preto, and Montes Claros. The story of João Palisteu Adelado looked at João and said, "Come among us, you are the greatest among us." It was you who drew the image of Senhora Aparecida back there in your other past life. You needed the knowledge that your father gave you, offering you the condition for you to study. You are the most knowledgeable among us. John stood up if a force took his throat, saying, "Blessed be the whole black race, for today the heavens have to go to earth." Represent blessed be all men who work to build love on earth, so that all these men may be worthy of the love of Senhora Aparecida da Mãe de Jesus, who today is the patroness of our Brazil. From then on, it would be spread that the Lady of Aparecida was patroness of Brazil, a blessed mission. Father Donizete Tavares de Lima was from Cácia de Minas Gerais, born on Yoan Sewan 03, 1882. When he was 4 years old, his family moved to the city of Franca, São Paulo, where he did the primary course and was learning the rudiments of music. He became known throughout the country and abroad for his miracles in the city of Tambaú SP, especially between 1954 and 1955. He died on 1606 to 1961. At 79 years old, Adelardo said to the other heralds, "It is through Donizetti, his fight, his willpower. It is that we know the greatness of being close to the Mother of Jesus. He will say the Hail Mary prayer throughout this Brazil. Everyone will hear your voice. And will he always exalt the Lady of Aparecida? Yes, because we were all barracks. He will receive a great light in life, he must study and be ordained a priest. But his mission is not in this city, it is in a nearby city that will be called Tambaú. Founded on 27/07/1886, it was elevated to the status of municipality on 20/08/1898. Adelard said to John, "Man will evolve. It will grow and many will hear prayer. Hail Mary, because it was Donizetti who embraced the image. Santa, over canoe, unable to hold it, she fell into the waters of the 12. In the afterlife, he was the only one who was not slaughtered." At 6:01 p.m., we descended to the Paraíba Valley, arriving at the place where everything had happened. We kneel and put ourselves in prayer, in praise of Mary Most Holy Mother, because she is the supreme kingship and supreme mother. We came from various parts of our Brazil to live these moments, so that these praises can be carried out throughout our Brazil. Immediately we had a crowd with us, people from all over, who also began to pray, and then that was a great beginning. Now she would grow the family cycle of the three fishermen. Source: www.e2.com/Família dos Devotos, casting João Alves. His troll net took the body of the lady without the head, casting him further down the net again. He removed the head of the same lady Silvana Alves da Rocha, who joined the body, and the head of the Virgin of Aparecida and waited in a wooden box. On July 16, 1930, Pope Pius V signed a decree that proclaimed Our Lady of Aparecida as the patroness of Brazil, reflections on the book Heralds of Aparecida. João Palisteu was the one who drew the image of Senhora Aparecida. He was probably Domingos Alves Rocha, in the previous incarnation. Father Donizete Tavares de Lima, in the previous reincarnation, was the one who embraced the holy image on the canoe, and unable to hold it, the image fell into the waters. Of the 12 emissaries of Senhora Aparecida in the other life, he was the only one who was not slaughtered. He ran away. It was João Palisteu's son who cast the net in the Paraíba do Sul River, in São Paulo, in 1717. He was probably João Alves in the previous incarnation. First he found one part, then the other part of the picture. The holy image was glued by him, hidden in an elucidation chapel. We also ask forgiveness of our brothers, who, because of religious factors, may not want to understand this work. Our sincere request for forgiveness to all those who, while committed to the truth of good, find themselves at the head of opposing forces, demanding that silence become stronger in their hearts. So here are our apologies, those who did not understand, or did not manifest themselves, satisfied with the message of this book, we ask forgiveness, and may the light of Jesus illuminate Henry all.